Well, hello everyone. It is Tuesday night, 7:01. It's time to grandstand. Welcome everyone who is here. Hello there, Ebony. So good to see you. Or Cynthia, so good to see you. Join me on tonight. Let's see what we can get into on tonight. For our ones that will be listening after this has broadcast, after the live, we would like for you to share the live with others. If you're not a subscriber on Facebook, I just went blank, you all, on the other social media platforms, YouTube, TikTok. Join me over there so you can see what I am posting. I try to post different things on different platforms. Sometimes it's the exact same thing, but hey, if you join me everywhere, you'll be sure not to miss anything. So I just wanted to start off by saying this is Mother Theresa once again. Glad to be with you all. And I see you, Shekinah. Thank you so much for joining in. So tonight, guess what we're going to talk about? Other than if you all had a spring break, I know I'm going to talk a little bit about my spring break and the things that I did over the spring break. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And then I'm also, what's my YouTube name? The Other Mother Theresa, of course. So see if you can find me on YouTube. It's The Other Mother Theresa. And that's pretty much going to be where you can find me. If it doesn't say The Other Mother Theresa, it'll just say Mother Theresa. So that's where you're going to be able to find me on most of the social media platforms that I am on. I'm trying to be trying to be consistent across the board, so it'll make it easy for people to find me, because sometimes if you keep changing your name, people are not able to find you. They say, I look for you with this name and I couldn't find you. So hopefully you'll be able to find me. If you just look up Mother Theresa, something of that variation, you should be able to find me. All right, you all. So listen, what's going on with you all? It's for me, it was a busy last week because it was spring break, and we had a great spring break. My girls and my granddaughters, plus Chase, I have to always say plus Chase, we decided to do a girls trip. And with that girls trip, we decided to go to New Orleans. And so some of the people were teasing me about the way I was saying New Orleans and Nolans and New Orleans. I do know how to say it, but I was just kind of being whatever. Hey, OD, glad you joined us on tonight. So last week we were again in New Orleans, and I tell you, New Orleans is a fun city. It's a very interesting city. It's a city that you can get lost in. It's a city that you can definitely get yourself into a lot of trouble if you're not careful. So you got to be careful when you're in New Orleans. You got to be careful when you're anywhere and everywhere. But especially, I say in New Orleans, because again, you can get yourself into some situations. Not that we did, we were good and we were safe. But you have to make sure that you're prepared when you're going on to different places. I'm not saying New Orleans is full of, any more crime than any place else. But New Orleans is the city that never sleeps. So it's a party city. It's a city that people love to have a good time. And when you're there, you want to, be a part of some of the atmosphere, but you just can't indulge in everything. And that's the key. You just got to know your limits. You got to know what you can and what you cannot do. And it's all up to you. I mean, if that's your cup of tea, and those are the type of things that you like to do, who am I to judge? Somebody said that, who am I to judge? But I just know for me, we have to make sure that we are keeping everything up and everything like that. But we had a great time. I was kidding with someone, and I said we went to New Orleans to shop. the river. If you've ever been to I think it's the River Walk, that park, that shopping area that's right there by the river, the lake, or whatever that body of water is. First of all, it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hey, Mama. It is beautiful, and just to be able to go and sit outside on the bench or on the it's probably has a name, probably the pier or the whatever it's called, but you can go and sit outside, and of course you can see all the different ships and the steamboats and all of those, the barges going through, and of course it has that beautiful bridge over there. But it was just a nice place to just kind of hang out. And again, lots of walking. Whenever, if you're in New Orleans, make sure you are prepared to walk, because it's a lot of walking in New Orleans. And so, but fun time. This was not our first time visiting New Orleans. We've been there several times. We used to go quite a bit back in the day when we were at Davis Memorial. But it was so funny because we would go to New Orleans like on the weekends. We would get there in enough time for church, spend the night, and do what we're going to do, and then get back up, and we were back on the road, headed back to church. So we didn't get a chance to really explore New Orleans. I didn't have that opportunity until I was, an adult, married, with my husband and with my son. And that was probably the first time that we actually had a chance to explore New Orleans. Matter of fact, my mother-in-law went with us. And I can remember Boris and I went out on Bourbon Street at night. And I mean, it is a totally different view and vibe at nighttime versus during the daytime. It looks like a totally different city. But I can remember when I took Will, when we were walking and we were just kind of, just looking at different things. And he said that it smelled like sin. And I was like, what do you mean, Will? And Will was a young boy, but that was one of his impressions of New Orleans. He said it smells like sin. And I don't know if it was the smell of maybe the alcohol or just, I really don't know, but that's the way he described it. But in the daytime, of course, is beautiful. We looked at all the different architecture of the different buildings, and New Orleans is just a beautiful place. I mean, it is just beautiful. So if you have an opportunity to go, please go and visit, spend some time there, enjoy the good food that they have, the culture and everything like that. It's just a really nice place to visit. And then as we ended our spring break, we were able to go to Nacogdoches, and the oldest town in Texas. It was for my mom's birthday. She was celebrating her 81st birthday. And so we were so very happy to be there with her to celebrate her birthday. And I think probably everybody that's on here right now, I'm not sure who's all on here, but I think everybody who's on here right now was at the birthday party. And I thank you all so very much. I talked to her earlier today, and she was just saying how grateful she was that for the everybody coming out, and just so appreciative of the love that was shown at her birthday, and the people, the support, the family, and everybody that came out. And it's just a good time. One of the things that I often say is that when it comes to my mom and it comes to my family, we were raised to love one another, to take care of each other. And we're a close-knit family. So the things that we do, it's not unusual for us to enjoy the company of each other and be able to come together and have a good time without any, fuss and fighting or whatever. And it's just good fun, and a lot of times what we're doing is catching up, because we don't see each other on a maybe I wouldn't say a regular basis, but there are some of us who have moved away, and so we don't get a chance to make it home to see everybody at the same time. So we definitely look forward to Mama's birthday because we can all come together. Those of us that are able to get there, we try to make sure that we're there. And when we're there, it's just food, fun, and fellowship. That's exactly what we do. And loving on each other and catching up with each other and seeing how everybody has been and offering words of encouragement and just, patting each other on the back and also looking at all the new faces because typically there are new kiddos, there are new babies, there are going to be new faces almost seems like every year or every other year. So our family is growing. And that's a good thing. That's a good sign. Mom started with her and her 8 children, and of course we have children, and most of us now have grandchildren. So it's a good thing to see your family be able to grow and multiply because that's how we leave legacies. That's how we leave, something for our generations to come. That generation doesn't just end because if there were no children, then our generation or mom's, lineage would end. But because we're being fruitful and multiplying, there is hopefully there will always be a descendant of, Everline and, our fathers and when Jesus returned. So, and that's the goal. And not only is that the goal, but I want us to not only have someone that is here, but then to be able to have conversations about who we were. And that is something that, Cousin OD is on here. We've been talking a lot about, the different things that have happened in the past and some of the things that we did not get a chance to get some information. So, if you're on here and if you have family members, and they don't have to be older relatives. I mean, it could be just, people that are your age, but have conversations and talk about your family. Talk about, who the people are that is a part of your family. And not only who they are, but what are some of the things that they've done in their lives? What are some of their passions? What are some of the things that they have enjoyed doing? What are some of the highlights of their lives? I often say that everybody has a story. Everybody has a story, and no one can tell our story better than we can. So while we are telling our stories, while we are here, we need to be telling our stories to someone. We need to make sure that our stories live on. And sometimes you may say, well, I really don't have much to my story. There's not been a whole lot that I've done in my life. Well, and I think sometimes we mistake accomplishments and the things that we've done that are grand. And yes, this is grandstanding, but listen, everybody has a story. It doesn't matter what you've done or what you haven't done. The things that you have accomplished are the things that you've accomplished. And whatever they may be, that's your story. So I want you to make sure that you leave this world with somebody knowing your story. Where however your story is, somebody should know it. And and oftentimes, we look at different pictures and sometimes we can look at pictures and we may not even remember or know who those people are. So when you're taking pictures, and I know, we take most of our pictures now. Hey, Sister Andra, this is one of my church members. How are you doing tonight? When we're taking pictures, a lot of times we're using our phones, and so we're taking pictures, and we don't really print out pictures the way that we used to. But even if you are taking pictures and they're on your phone, put the people's names on those pictures of who they are. So when they're gone, when they're here after we're long gone, somebody can go back and they can look at those pictures and say, oh, that was cousin so and so, or that was Mr. or Mrs. so and so. And so leave that information for the ones that are are here, but not necessarily just the ones that are left behind, but even now, because I look at some of the cousins and I'm like, I don't know who they are. I don't know their names. We're still here. I was had a opportunity to visit with one of my cousins a couple of weeks ago, and she had called about sent me a text to get in contact with her. And growing up, I knew her, but I didn't really know her. So recognize the face, kind of recognize the name, and Romanda, if you're listening, I'm talking about you, but getting to know your family, getting to know the people, the people that are a part of who you are. And so we've got to do a better job of that, you all. We are close knit to, I was talking about my mom and her kids and everybody. My mom raised us to love one another, to always cling together. And I thank God that we've done that. But we also, have to remember that the cousins that we grew up, the aunts, and the uncles and their children. We got to remember the extended family. We've got to remember who those people are, and not just family, you all, but even just the friends and the people that are in your life. We've got to make sure that we are keeping those relationships alive, and also keeping the relationships open where that we can have that connection. One of the saddest things that I think that can happen to a person is to be here on this earth and not have any connections with anybody. I understand about keeping your circle tight and keeping it, kind of small, but you got to have somebody in that circle. A circle needs people in order to become a circle. One or two people, you really can't make a circle. So you have got to have some people in your lives that you can connect with. And if you are, connected with people, try to keep those relationships nurtured. One of the things a friend of mine or a coworker of mine, we were talking today about what was happening during COVID. And so many people thought that COVID was the absolute worst thing that could ever happen. And for some, it was. We lost a lot of lives. We lost a lot of loved ones, friends, and, people. It was a very scary time. But it was also a time that we were able to come together. I often say that my son and I, of course, my husband was having to work, but my son and I were here at this house together for that entire time. And I think our relationship, we bonded a little bit more. I enjoyed being at home. Of course, I was working. I pretty much was working from day one that we were, shut in during the pandemic. But I was able to do my work. But I was here at home with my family. And when we were able to come together, our bubble, which was, me and my husband and of course our children and grandchildren, we spent time together, and it was good quality time. I was talking to a friend today, and she was talking about one of her friends who started a new career after COVID or during COVID. So many great things happened, you all, during COVID. But one of the other things that I realized is that it gave us an opportunity to really spend some quality time with those people that we loved. Those people that are in our household. And I heard somebody say not too long ago that for the people that lived in the house with us, some of us really didn't know our children. Some of us really didn't know our spouses like that, which we should have. But we got a better understanding of some of their behaviors. And as the teachers, of course, this was an opportunity for the parents to become the teachers. So you got a chance to really, understand a little bit more about your children and how maybe they behave in the classroom, some of their learning habits, some of their habits as far as being able to do their work, their school work. My son, bless his heart, he would sleep pretty much most of the day, and then he would get up in the afternoon or late evening, and he would just be busy doing his homework. And he knew that he had until 11:59 to get that homework turned in. But his grades began to soar. He did really, really well during the pandemic because I think it was less pressure. Of course, again, like I said, we were all kind of, anxious about what was happening and everything like that. but he did really well during the pandemic. And a lot of people did. I know I'm kind of rambling tonight, and that's kind of what I do. Remember, I said I can go on a tangent and I can talk about a lot of different things and move from this to that. Tonight I was going to talk about overcoming our fears and taking risk. That's what I was going to talk about. So if I get to it, I get to it. If I don't even worry about it. But again, just being able to visit again, I started talking about, ending our week with my mom and just having a good time, in Nacogdoches, loving on my mom and showing her how much, we love her. And then, spending time with our family. Sometimes when you don't see family for quite some time, you get to have those good, wholesome conversations, which are good, find out a lot about what's going on in their lives and to be able to offer, like I said, some words of encouragement. But it also gives us to know that there are certain things that we need to be praying for with our families and for our families. So for all of you all that had a spring break, I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed mine. Of course, whenever we go back to school after spring break, normally the first thing people will ask is, when is the next break? When are we going to have another break? So for those of you all who are asking, if you work in a district like me or work in the same district that I work in, we have a break on another day off on next Friday, which will be Good Friday. So I hope you all enjoy that. Listen, you all, I've kind of talked and rambled a whole lot on tonight. Again, thank you all for joining me. And let's talk a little bit about overcoming our fears. I know we only have just a few minutes to talk about that and taking risk. One of the things I do realize is that if we never take a risk, if we never step out and I say step out on faith, we are stuck, you all. We are stuck. And so the word of God tells us that we are to, first of all, we have to have faith. As believers, we have to have a sense of faith, and we have to be able, and I'm not going to say take risk, but we have to do things and not know what the outcome will be. That's what faith is all about. When we moved here from Nacogdoches, we took a big leap of faith, a big, walk of faith, because we came here not knowing anybody. We came here not knowing what to expect, not having, I had a job, but that's about all that I had in the sense of being able to walk into something that was a somewhat, I was walking into a position that I was familiar with doing that type of work, but I had never heard of Baytown. I had never been out of Nacogdoches. I've lived in Nacogdoches all my life, my husband and I. But we decided that when that opportunity presented itself, we definitely had to overcome some fears. And that fear was the fear of the unknown, the fear of what if we get there and things don't work out. Okay, what if we get there and it's not what we wanted, not what we expected? Well, the expectations, I really didn't have any expectations other than that everything was going to be well, everything was going to be fine. And I say that because we had prayed about the situation, we had prayed about the move, we had prayed about everything, but still there was the unknown. But did we make that leap of faith? Absolutely we did. And I can say it was the best move in our lives that we made that leap of faith. And we did what I'm sharing with you all, and what I'm telling you all to do is that if you have a dream, if you have something that you want to accomplish, don't sit on the sidelines and just let the time go by. We are only here, life is but a vapor. And just as quickly as we are here, we are out of here. So don't let your time go by. Don't waste your time, and if you have wasted time, it's time to redeem the time. Sometimes we can think that we've gotten too old to do certain things, and we've gotten too old, and this has passed us by, and this has passed us by. And matter of fact, I was thinking about that. It's probably about 2 years ago. It was something that I was really wanting to do. And I'm not going to share it right now, but it was something that I was wanting to do. And I was like, you know what, God, I think I missed my opportunity. I think I waited too late. I didn't move when you told me to move. And so I think my time is past. I think that opportunity has passed. And God just began to start speaking to me from random different either people or messages that I was reading, or different things. And I even remember one time Pastor Ron was saying, stop saying that you're too old, or that the time has passed you by, and that opportunity has left. As long as you're breathing, as long as you are here, you still have time that you can do things. And so whatever that you have been putting off, because you've been fearful or you're afraid that it may not work out, take a leap of faith and go ahead and, start that business that you've been wanting to start, write the book, sing the song, go on that trip, whatever it is that, you are wanting to do. Make sure that you're doing that. It is never too late, you all. Now, our bodies change physically. I know that there are some things that at my present state, I wouldn't even attempt to do. But then there are other ways that I can do. There are some other things that I can do. So what I'm saying is that, don't let certain things stop you from the things, the goals that you have, set, or some of the desires that you've wanted to do. And some people say age is nothing but a number. So we have people that are in, much older than I am, doing some of the things that I want to do, and I have a desire to do. So it's all on me. I have to make sure that I set out and I do it. I'm speaking to me first before I can speak to you all. So what is that thing that you have desire to do, and what are you going to do about it? Okay. What are you going to do about it? It's like, so what, now what? What are you going to do about the thing that dream that you have that has not been fulfilled as of yet? So not only what is that thing, but what are the fears that you have? What are some of the things that you are just totally fearful of? And I can tell you one of the things that, and it's in a different sense, but one of my fears is I am so afraid of snakes, you all. And but this is my prayer, is God, let me see the snake before the snake sees me, because then I can get out of the way, So it's certain things like that you have to know what you are fearful of. And so, and snakes may not be your fear. It may be you have a fear of, stepping out on faith and starting that business that you've been wanting to start. But listen, find you some good mentors. Find you some good people like SCORE. That is a group of people that will help walk beside you if you are trying to start a business or do a business. Find somebody that can walk alongside of you and help you to accomplish those things that you want to do. And then also, once you get started, listen, y'all, don't let nobody deter you from what you're doing. Because guess what? The thing about it is that people don't understand what God has given you. People may not understand, your thought process or your dream or your goal. And guess what? They're not supposed to. I would hope that they would be, supportive. But even if they don't, just pray and keep moving in the direction that God will have for you. And hopefully, everybody can get on the same page. But listen, there is a lot of things that we can talk about on this subject. But think about this week, think about what it is that you want to overcome. What fear is keeping you from accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish? And first of all, why are you fearful? What does the Bible tell us about how we are fearfully and wonderfully made? Why are you fearful? And then what would happen if you did step out on faith? What could be the absolute worst thing that could happen if you did step out on faith? Okay. And I will tell you that God is waiting for us. He's waiting for us to make a step. He's waiting for us to believe that he will do exactly what he said he will do. And you know, one of the things that I know for sure in my life, that the things that I have prayed for and the directions that God have ordained for me to walk in, and the doors that he wanted me to be able to walk through, he has opened those doors for me. If I wasn't supposed to go through those doors, guess what? He closed them. So take that leap of faith, get over being afraid, and just step out on faith and just do it. I was sharing with my daughter years ago when we were coming home from Nacogdoches, and it was raining. Oh my goodness, it was raining, raining, raining. It was raining so bad that I could barely see in front of me. But I knew I had my daughter with me, and I think I had my grandson. I'm not sure if Will was with me, but I know that I had Candace and I had Chase with me. And one of the things that I knew, that as a mama, that I had my babies in the car with me and I was going to get them home. So I slowed that car down and I drove, and I did it afraid. I did it afraid. Now my hands were on that steering wheel just like that, gripping. I mean, it's probably the inside of my hands were probably had blisters of because I was gripping that steering wheel so hard and so tight. But I was determined to make sure that I got my family home safe. I was so afraid. And when I finally got home, and I was probably holding my breath too, because it seemed like when we finally pulled in the driveway, I let out this big sigh of relief. And it was like, and I shared with my daughter, sometimes you just have to do it afraid. So listen, you all, thank you all so very much for being with me on tonight, for grandstanding with me on tonight. I appreciate anytime you all log in. Please share the video. Please go back and watch it in case you missed something. Somebody may have called your name and you missed something. So go back and watch it again. Share it with other people. And again, anytime you all show up and you all listen to me talk about anything, anytime that I am on here, I appreciate you all so much. It means a lot to me. Again, I said something earlier to someone, and I was like, you never know. You never know the people that you are touching, the lives that you are touching when you are speaking. You know, God put me here to be an encourager, and I intend to do just that. So hopefully I've said something to you all on tonight that has encouraged you to just go another step. And if I haven't, please tune in next time. Hopefully you will find something that will be beneficial. Hey, Sister Sherry, something that will be beneficial to you on the next time. Listen, everybody, y'all have a great night on tonight, okay? And I will see you all the next time. Thank you, Sister Sherry. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday. Same time, same place. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.